Good morning, I'm Elton Robinson with your October 16th grain and oilseed report. According to USDA's October crop production report, we can now welcome Maryland to the 180 bushel per acre club for corn yield. They join 9 other states which have hit or exceeded the threshold, including Arkansas, Delaware, Mississippi, Georgia, Iowa, California, Minnesota, Washington, and Nebraska. It should also be noted that yields for Arkansas, Mississippi, and Georgia exceeded the average estimated yields for Iowa in October. So keep up the good work down there. Overall, the U.S. corn crop yield increased 1 bushel from 167 bushels per acre to 168. USDA forecast a 437,000 acre decline in anticipated harvested acres for corn. The net result of the reduced acreage and higher yield expectations was a 30,000 bushel increase in average U.S. corn production. If realized, this will still be the second highest yield and the third highest production on record for the United States. According to crop progress reports, 42% of the U.S. corn crop has been harvested, a 15% increase over the week prior. Soybean production is forecast at 3.9 billion bushels, down 1% from September and down 1% from last year. Based on October 1 conditions, yields are expected to average 47.2 bushels per acre, up slightly from last month and a third of the bushel down from last year. Area for soybean harvest is forecast at 82.4 million acres, down 1% from September and down slightly from last year. About 62% of the U.S. soybean crop has been harvested, which is ahead of last year's pace. Grain sorghum yields are projected at 75 bushels per acre and production at 573,500 bushels per acre. That production figure is an increase of 33% over last year. Arkansas joins Illinois and Nebraska as members of the sorghum 100 bushel per acre yield club. Export numbers for grain sorghum continue to impress, although numbers were down for the week. 51% of the grain sorghum crop, which is grown in 11 major producing states, is harvested, which is ahead of last year's pace. Expected rice yields declined from last month for California, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas, but increased 300 pounds in Missouri. 88% of the crop had been harvested as of October 11th, which is ahead of last year's pace. Louisiana and Texas have completed first harvest, while Arkansas, Mississippi, and Missouri are nearing completion. As of October 11th, 64% of the U.S. winter wheat plantings were complete, which is on pace with the 5-year average. Here's the latest on weekly agricultural exports for USDA's October 16th report. The summary is based on reports from exporters for the week ending October the 8th. Wheat exports of 375,000 metric tons were down 34% from the previous week and 35% from the prior 4-week average. Primary destinations included the Philippines, Japan, Yemen, and Mexico. For corn, exports of 607,000 metric tons were up 24% from the previous week, with Japan, Mexico, Colombia, and Venezuela as customers. Sorghum exports of 257,000 metric tons were down 27% from the previous week, with Chinese demand still strong at a little over 230,000 metric tons. Rice exports of 72,000 metric tons were down 18% from the previous week and 3% from the prior 4-week average. Destinations included Venezuela, Mexico, and Honduras. Strong soybean exports of 1.63 million metric tons were up 74% from the previous week. The primary destination was China, which took 1.3 million metric tons. Soybean meal export customers included Mexico, Venezuela, Canada, and Guatemala. Soybean oil exports went to Venezuela and Mexico. Beef exports of 12,000 metric tons were up 1% from the previous week, while pork exports were up 5%. Our thoughts and prayers are continue for South Carolina and other parts of the southeast that were hit by Hurricane Joaquin. For farmers, the worst damage was in low-lying areas, which stayed flooded for days, causing damage to peanuts, cotton, and soybeans. The state is seeking federal aid for affected farmers. Well, that's it for this week's report. I'm Elton Robinson. See you next time.